Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today. This is a Friday video, so you won't be able to talk to me this time, but that's okay. Whatever we talk about today, we'll be talking to you about on the Sunday live video that follows directly after. So you'll be able to talk to me on Sunday about what we did, and you can ask me questions then and I'll answer them, okay? Today we're going to do tissue decoupage on pearls. That sounds kind of strange. Why would you do that to a beautiful pearl? Beautiful pearls like these. Why would you want to cover them up? Because I can. Isn't that what we do? Isn't that why we do what we do as artists? Because we can. And also we can change them up and make them look different. If we don't have a lot of money into them, then hey, why not, right? So come on over here and I'll show you how I use Mod Podge, tissue paper, iced enamels, perfect pearls, and diamond glaze to get my look. And it's so simple you're not going to believe it. So come on over and let's get after it. We're on. Okay, we're on, she says. So I think you need to see these up close. I just put their final coat on them, which is diamond glaze, so I'm hoping that, yeah, they're dry enough. But basically, I just started out with a pearl. It's not quite the same size, but it's kind of sort of like this. Very nice quality pearl. It's drilled all the way through. These are actually Japanese Cultura pearls, and they're pretty special. And I'm kind of like, why am I doing this with them? But they're just the perfect thing for it, and I have pounds and pounds and pounds of them. So, in fact, I've even been giving them away. This week, with your order of $50 or more, you will get a little bag of these pearls to play with. So, hey, already. But these are from like 60s and 70s. They're made in Japan, and they are Japanese Cultura MOD pearls. So I've been in this trade a long time. I've heard that name a long time, and I'm like, you know, what is the definitive answer for what Japanese Cultura MOD pearls are? I knew they were composition plastic, but more than that I didn't know. Well, I looked them up, and they are just a plastic base, but they're made like all the other Japanese pearls. They're dipped and dipped and dipped time and time again into this beautiful finish that does not chip or peel. So they're high quality. And then I looked at some bead places that carry higher end designer materials, besides ours, ha ha ha. There are wholesale places. And a strand of 4mm Baroque Cultura MOD Japanese pearls was 140 bucks. The strand was about 60 inches, so you're going to get a lot, but still, that's a lot of money. So these are worth some money, but they'll be worth some money to you this way too. And I have a lot, so I'm going to show you on this. Someone said, can you do it on wood? I don't know why you couldn't. I don't know why you couldn't. You should be able, any kind of a bead that you have. You don't have to have Cultura pearls or any kind of pearl. You know, any bead. I would not at this point try glass. And I'm not entirely sure why I'm telling you that. It just somehow just seemed to me it won't. You're better with plastic or wood. Plastic most of all. So you can find yourself some big old bad old vintage plastic beads in a sack at a flea market, and they'll work just the same, but it's pretty over the pearls. So anyway, so what did I do first? Well, I put down a little bit of this perfect pearls and the perfect bronze, and then I had some stupendous what do they call that? Oh man, my brain just went off. It's the embossing, clear embossing, and I left it over there, Javi, if you can go grab it. We have them in this nice big bottle. So I put this stuff down first, and then I add my perfect pearl, so stay on. Then I coat the whole thing in Mod Podge, and then I tear off a little piece of this stuff. It can be any tissue paper you have of any type. I just happen to have this from Seven Gypsies. It was from an old pack. I used to carry this stuff, and you can't get it anymore for love nor money, as they say. So anyway, but it's what I'm using. And then over top of that, I do Mod Podge again. And then I found out that you can do the iced enamels over Mod Podge and it'll melt down and be good. You don't have to put this medium. It's a good thing because they're starting to not I don't know if they're not making it or my suppliers just aren't carrying it. They're carrying this and not the medium. Like, what's up with that? But I guess you can also use like Elmer's glue as well. But I found the Mod Podge is working, so hey. Then when it's done, you'll just let it sit for a couple of hours and you'll come back and just sponge on some diamond glaze. And you might need 2 or 3 coats, but this is so easy. You can have like a session of it, work for a couple hours. Yeah, this is diamond glaze. And I'll just mention to you, if you have diamond glaze in your stash, treasure it, because this is the time of year, like every year, where Judykins runs out of diamond glaze and doesn't have any. No suppliers have it. Nobody has it. We're out of it. I can't get. They're saying the earliest expected is mid-April. Why they do this, why they don't plan, it happens every year. It's just like, okay, world, you can just be out of our wonderful product that you've all gotten used to. So we're waiting. So if you have diamond glaze, use it sparingly and use it well. Okay, I'm just going to shut up now and I'm going to show you how I did this. Okay. Yay, about time, right, Javi? Okay, so what I do is I start out, there's a couple of ways, but for me this seems to be working good, so it might work for you good too. I take one of these really long eye pins that I have, but if you don't have any of those, you can use some 22, 20 gauge wire, something like that, and just loop the end so it stays in the pearl real good. I do that, and then I get a big fat pearl and put on it. So here's my big fat pearl. Alrighty, now we're going to get down to business. First thing I'm going to do is take my Stampendous, the clear embossing ink like you scrapbookers use so often, and I'm just dabbing. Now, you really can't see it on here, but it is definitely going on. I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, see, that's wet there. But you want to get it covered real good. It doesn't have to be, you know, on every single surface, but you need to cover your pearl pretty good if you want the perfect pearls to stick. Okay, I think that's good enough. Let's see. We'll see if it's not. And then get yourself one of these little brushes here. You know, you can go wherever. We don't carry them on the site because there's no reason to. You can get them anywhere. You can get them in a hardware store, dollar store. Get a whole sack of them for a few bucks. If you can't find any, let me know. I'll float you a few. How's that? Because I've got bouquets of them. Okay, so now I'm going to open my perfect pearls. Now, normally you don't want to just work out of the bottle here, the pot, because you could contaminate it. So once I put this into the perfect pearl stuff, I can't put it back in, so I might want to just get myself some. So I have it, and then I'll put this back. Whoops!
You put it on the lid if you wanted to.
You could, but then you're going to put the lid back on
yeah,
it, so you're going to contaminate it. So you know they always recommend that you put it in something else so you don't contaminate it. Okay, let me push it out of the way, and I'm just going to brush it on. And here we go. We're getting that lovely, lovely, perfect pearls glow. And you know, if you just like these colors and you don't want to do anything else, you just want to change up your pearls and make one another pretty color, you can do this. This will work. You'll have to seal it at the end.
What do you seal it with?
I would say probably you could just do some Mod Podge over it.
Oh.
Or you could do, I don't know if Krylon would work. It probably would. I don't think it will run because I use it over that. I use this on metal all the time. You could use diamond glaze.
Oh, okay.
I would say most sealers would probably work. So you need to get it down here all around, especially if you're going to leave it be and don't do anything else with it. You need to get it all the way down. But this is good enough here. So it's nice and it's all brushed out nice, because if you don't brush it out, you'll have little greebly things hanging on to it, and then when you do your next step, it could affect it. Okay, I have a little bit of Mod Podge in here. I don't know if I have quite enough, so I'm going to put a little bit more. These little cups come in handy. You can usually get them at a food supply service. I know ice resin people also sell them in a kit, so if you can't find them anywhere else, they're usually available that way in a craft store. Oh no, did I say craft store? I did, I said craft store. But you really, if you hunt around, you'll find them cheaper. You might even go on Amazon and find them somewhere. I would not pay a whole lot of money for these. Okay, so now I've got Mod Podge in my little sponge brush. And notice, you know, it's not the same one. I got a new one. And I'm just going to get this all over there. And if it streaks up with the, you know, perfect pearls underneath, no biggie, no problemo. You don't have to worry about that. It's all good. But you do want to get it covered pretty good, and you'll see why in just a sec. Okay, so I've got it on there pretty good now. I'll set this aside. And now I'm going to tear my paper. Now, I don't need much. I don't need much at all. So I'm just going to tear a little bit of it. I like to go on the diagonal, but whatever works for you is fine. And I like to tear it, not cut it, because I love the look of the ragged edge. But if you like it to be cut just so, then you do that. That's up to you. Okay, so now I'm going to begin to apply it. So I get some down in the first place that I want it to be. And I try to tamp all the little edges down. If it starts to come up again, you want to try and get that all down. And then I just keep going. And sometimes it'll fight you, and sometimes it just goes on like a dream. And if you cross it over itself, it's no big deal either. You might prefer not to do that, but for the sake of time today, I'm just going to let that slide. And not worry about it. Just try to get down all your little edges if you can. I won't say this is perfect, but you heard me say it. So do what I say, not what I do. This will work out okay. And you'll see how you can fix it if you forget or something comes up. Now you need to do another coat over. It's just like any other kind of decoupage. You put it down underneath and you put it down on top. This is just not as meticulous as, you know, regular decoupage. And when you go to put it on, just kind of tap it on, because you know, the tissue paper is fragile and you could tear it. And then, you know, you could fix it, but then you got more time into it, and it's just annoying. And why go there, right? If you don't have to. All right, don't go there. All right, so then I just kind of smooth it down. It'd be better if I had some gloves on, but I don't, so I'm just going to deal with it. This is a little lumpy here, but that's okay. I'm going to show you what it looks like if you leave it that way. But the perfect thing is to have everything down as flat can be.
How about if you wanted it to have like little ridges and stuff?
Then do it.
Okay.
Put them in, you know. It's up to you, because you be the boss. Yeah. Okay, now it's still wet. That's fine. Because it's so wet, the turquoise ice enamels that I'm going to use here should be fine and stay on. So here I go. And again, you don't need much. Just kind of think where, you know, you want the coverage to be. I don't want to coat this whole thing with it. I think I've got a little more on there really than I even wanted, but that's okay. The main thing is to show you, you know, what I'm doing and to get the point. All right, now, because there's all these little good inclusions in this stuff, which this is really just like embossing powder, special embossing powder. Stampendous brand has some in turquoise that works as well. But the way they formulate it is just the bomb, and it's their deal. So you'll have trouble finding an embossing powder that looks as good as this for this type of thing. But if you do have some embossing powder and you can't find ice enamels, you can use them. It works. Okay. So so I just did the Mod Podge over top. Normally you use this stuff, but the Mod Podge works. So I go with what works instead of using, you know, introducing another product. Okay, so now I have this done. I don't want to set this down if I can help it. I've got my embossing gun here, or my heat tool, I should say, not embossing gun. And I'm just going to go over it. And this is just the same as when you do iced enamels. You know how you want to keep it on to the ice enamel till it kind of bubbles up a little. Not too much though, because then it'll pull off. Normally with ice enamels you go from underneath, but you can't in this case. So you just want to get it just slightly melted. You don't have to have it melted all the way, just slightly taken care of. Okay, that bubbled up. I don't know if you guys could see that. I kind of have it out of the way. I'll do another one. And anywho, I'll try not to heat Javi up over there. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Pretty much. Like Javi says, it's pretty much. Okay, so I got some little bubbles and bumps on there that I'm not crazy about, but I'm not going to take them off now because it's hot and, you know, it could end up peeling a whole section of it off or something. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to leave it go. So I'm going to just bend this over and crook the top. It doesn't matter how you do it. You just have to get it onto a rack, okay? So I've been using Chainstay. I don't know if you guys can see. If I can hold it this way, maybe. But then it wants to go. These are those things that those tools that you get. Like you can put this chain across and then hang your charms down and see how they're placed to make it right, which is great for that. But you could use it for a drying rack too. So that's good. So I'm going to use it for a drying rack today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my drying rack. And I just want to make sure that it's not bumping up against any of the other items. Then when it's dry, I'll go back and any little bits and pieces that are sticking up more than I'd like them to, then I'll kind of flick them off at that time, or take a very, very light file like a nail file maybe. Light, and just kind of just coax them off. And then I'll do my final coat, which will be diamond glaze. And to put that on, you simply want to sponge it on. You don't want to, you know, go after it real hard. Let's see, which one did I just do? Let me think. I just did this one, but I wanted to show you how I glaze it. I think this is the one I did. Yeah, this is the one I did. I think it's actually dry enough. If it's not perfectly dry, I'm not going to worry about it because I want to show you how to do this. So this is how I sponge on my diamond glaze. So this is my diamond glaze here. And I'm being very careful because I don't want to lose any of this precious fluid. It's resin, you know. It's a resin that you don't have to mix. And that's why a lot of people like it. But it's kind of crafty more than, you know, real art stuff. But it works. So anyway, you'll see how I'm kind of just tamping it on there very lightly. I don't want it. See, if you put it on too thick and then you hang it like this up and down, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen, Javi? You got any ideas?
It's going to be chunky at the bottom?
Yeah! It's going to run to the bottom and you're going to have big drips. And you know what? You can get that off, but why go there, right? If you don't have to. Why go there if you don't have to? So I'm just doing this very, very lightly. Very, 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 very lightly. And then I'll probably go ahead and I'll do another coat at least, maybe 3. But I'll do it in sessions. I'll make a whole bunch of these first and then go back and let them dry real good. And if I have any dribbles and drips at the end, then I will just deal with it then. You can cut them off, file them off, or just pick them off real carefully, but that's how I do it. And of course now, if you've put this in diamond glaze, you need to wash it out right away, or if it dries with it on, this is toast, you have to throw it out. But, you know, maybe it doesn't matter to you, so I'll just put that out there for you. Okay, so I did this. Now, a long time ago, here it is, I did a video. It was one of the few polymer clay videos I ever did. But I guess it was a pretty good idea because someone with a clay site took it and put it on their site without my permission to show people how to do this. So I guess if it's good enough to steal, it's pretty good, right? Anyway, that was sad, but let her have it. You know, I tried to get her to take it off, and she didn't. She probably has it off now. It was a long time ago. Okay, take the whole wad, get a new bag. I just want to clean this up a little bit, guys. I'm going to keep getting into it. Although normally, if I was going to continue to make more pearls, you know, I would leave it because I'd be using it. You know, I won't lose anything. Okay, so the next thing is, this is how you can make a rack. And it's a bead drying rack. And it's homemade. You just get one of these plastic hoppers at the dollar store. Okay. And this works like the bomb. I used to always glaze all of my polymer clay beads this way. Well, I still do when I make. I just don't make them that often. But it's just a great way to go. Now my hands are going to look kind of crappy because I've got goop all over them. I didn't put on gloves, but you can see how it fits. And you know, here's how it goes. You just unhook it, you know. I'll put another row on to show you, but I want to show you something with this first. Okay, so now let's say that I want to do one of these beads, but I want to do it on the wire. Well, I can do that. I'll do this one in the middle. And I want to show you a really cool feature about it too. All right. If you can put, you know, I wouldn't put more than 3 beads on here. See if you can get in. I have, oh, it's sliding over. Maybe it's better not to do it on the wire. I wanted to just try it. You can certainly glaze them. You can certainly do your final approach this way. Just kind of dab it all over. I guess I shouldn't have cleaned that up. All right, I'm just going to put my finger in here and break my own rule. And I'm going to apply my color. Now I've got enough stuff on my finger that it's... But you see, if it falls down in the bottom of this tray. And that's actually a good thing because it's a good way to catch it. And continue to use it if you want. I should not have done that. Oh well, another example of what not to do from Brenda Sue. Hey, that rhymes.
Yeah, it does.
So anyway, yeah, it might be better to do it off the wire first, but this is going to be great for the glaze at the end, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, that's enough for now, just for the sake of argument. Get that on. Let's just see how it goes if we do it this way, okay, guys? All right, now that's not as smooth, but you know, this is all very artsy anyway. It doesn't really matter so much, so we're not going to get all tripped up on that. Alrighty, so I'm going to go back to my Mod Podge, which I had plenty out here, so I'm going to coat that. Now I'm going to get drips down the bottom of this, but do I care? No. Because when I get too many drips down the bottom of this, you know what I'll do? Is I'll take my wires off, and I'll pitch this plastic thing that cost me $1. It will have served its purpose, and I'm putting the Mod Podge on. It will serve its purpose well, and I can go for a long time with drips and drops all over the place. And yeah, it would be better to do this on a head pin first. I really thought this would work good, but anyway, it will for the glaze, so don't abandon this. Don't abandon this idea, because it really is good for glazing. All right, so now I've got my stuff on there. Now I'm going to put a little piece of paper, so let's see. I always like to have a look at, if I have something with letters on it or writing, I always kind of have to have a look and see what I'm tearing off, because sometimes you can get things that are a little shaky out there that you don't want. So now I'm just going to kind of go around.
Or words become other words.
Or words that become other words, exactly. You guys get the drift. Okay, so now I've got it all the way around. I could have torn this off a little bit more closely. And then here's an example of what to do when you haven't got enough coverage underneath. Okay, this is what you do. You get a little bit more of this stuff and you put it underneath to make it stick, make it stay down. This one's not going to be perfect. I'm just showing you for the sake of showing you. I'm even doing this with my finger, which I'm going to live to regret, because then I'm going to have Mod Podge fingers. And if any of you have had that, you'll know that you can clean it up, but it's kind of icky. Okay, so I've got that down pretty good, though. I'm pretty good with that. Yeah, you could do that. You could probably get a feel for doing it this way, actually, but I don't know. It'd probably be better to like dry it, take it off, then push it on here so you could do your final resin glaze and you could do it all at once. We'll explore it a little bit more on Sunday. How's that, guys? So now I'm dribbling my iced enamel on there, stuff. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to get my heat gun. That's the next step. Heat gun. Give me heat, give me heat. All right, so now I'm going to dry it. And I have to be careful with that heat gun on it, that, you know, move the heat gun out the way when you touch this or turn it. You know, don't leave it there. your hand by there. You'll be sorry. It's hot. This one, our heat gun, we have some on the way right now. They're a very popular item. We sell a lot of them. And they are so hot that you can even get some heat patina going on with it.
You know what I use mine for?
What do you use yours for, Javi?
To remove iPad screens with.
Oh, because you can loosen it when you're working on...
That heat gun is super strong.
Javi works on computers and stuff on the side. That's her side job. Javi has many talents.
Yes, I do.
Oh, listen to her. Oh, listen to her. Yes, I do. Well, as a matter of fact, I do. Okay, so there, I've got it pretty much. If I wanted to put some more bronzing stuff over that, I could do anything. Now, I keep using this paper tissue, but you could use just colored tissue. You don't have to have it be fancy printed on or anything. You could even use tissue that you've stamped on with stays-on ink. That's a real good one because it doesn't tend to run. So you can get some plain tissue paper and stamp with your stamps you have at home with stays-on black ink and make your own tissue paper with designs and stuff on it. But you can use any tissue paper. In fact, a lot of people use napkins. They work too. Okay, so this is on here. And so what will be nice is when I'm ready, and see, keep it free, make sure, give it a little roll afterwards. And then when that gets dry, all I'll do, I'm not going to do it because of the reasons I told you. It's not ready. But I'll just take that and I'll just go like this with my resin. And get it. And that way, if I get any drips or anything, under here, underside here, you don't want any too much there. So you might want to watch them for a few minutes so that it doesn't do that and accumulate in one place. But you just put it on there and spin it. And it's a really great way if you're doing any kind of beads, like if you're colorizing wood beads or brass beads, or if you're doing polymer clay beads, you just, get one of these things here and make it. I'll just show you for giggles. Usually I will get, oh, she got one on, you could, okay, so you could do one this way. If you want to work on it, you don't want to put it on a stringer thing, you could work on it like that way. She wants to show you that. But here's another thing before I keep going. Look at this. All right, here's my little heart one. See that? Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that is really cute.
Cutie-utie.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, if you don't want to string them across like this and put them on the wire, guess what you can do? You can take them on the head pin. And you can, oops, that's not even, here.
Sorry.
Alrighty, that was great. I've been doing these for 9 years. You'd think I'd have it down by now. Okay, so you take your little thing. All I do is just, thread a head pin or eye pin, whatever, through there. And it'll come off, when I'm done. It might want to resist you a little bit at first because you used a lot of stuff on it, but you can get it off. Okay, you could even cut it off probably. Well, I have to be careful you don't leave any in there, but yeah, you can get this off. It's just going to fight you a little bit. Or maybe you can find a way to just leave it on and use it that way. Like the glass, the glass leaves they leave on wires that lamp workers make. Anyway, so just hang it that way to dry and you're good too. Probably one good thing, I was just occurring to me, that you could do when you're making these is try not to get a lot of product accumulated up around the holes. And then that way it's going to come off easier. You see, this one's going to come off real super easy. But this one I'm going to have to fight with it a little bit because I put so much product. You don't want to take your brush and just go all over the product unless you want to leave it on that wire. And otherwise you may have to touch that up when you're done taking it off. But can you get it off? Yes, you can. Okay, I was just going to show you real quick how I put the wire on. It's pretty elementary, but I'll show you. Sometimes it's nice to just go ahead and show somebody and not assume they can do it, because I know I've looked at any number of really super simple things and everybody else was doing it, but I couldn't do it. So it was really good when I was showing. You're going to need, 10 inches maybe. I have a little more than that here, but... And I'm using 20 gauge wire. My favorite go-to gauge is 20 gauge. So now, my main concern, I usually do like maybe 5, maybe 6 across, depending on the size of my beads. And I have to keep them far enough so that when I'm working on the beads, that, it's not going to like interfere with anything. So I'm going to get maybe this. Oh no, I got to check and see. I can't put that much. So you got to check and see if you can, come here. If you can have enough. Yeah, it's good to do this too when you don't have anything hanging on it, right? You do this at first.
You always use pliers to bend it down.
Yeah, you can do that, sure. Just don't leave anything sticking up like I am. Watch it, hubby. I don't want to come flying on you.
Okay, I'll watch.
Okay. Alrighty. That's good enough, though. And now I'm going to just string it across. Yeah, normally you're going to set this up. You're not going to have anything on it first. You'll set this up and you'll have them. You might want to set up 2 or 3 of these and have them just put aside in your work area. So anytime that you want to do something that you need to have it hang for a while, you've got a really easy solution. So I could just even leave it like that, just crooked at the end. You see? But I don't think I would want to. This is easy to bend, so I'll just push it in a little bit, and I'll just be careful now that I don't, scrape myself on that or anything. But basically, that's all it is. You just keep going across, keep going across, keep going across. You could have a lot of beads drying in there. And these don't take that long to dry, but I usually tell folks, you should let it cure for like at least a day. Like I made these yesterday. You know what, I'm going to just hang them here so you can get a sense of it. I made most of these yesterday, and I glazed them. So you're not going to want to put too many because they have some weight. And you don't want them to be knocking into each other if they get, pushed on or moved or bumped. You don't want it to. But I did them yesterday, and I didn't glaze them till today. It was about 24 hours later. That's always a good rule of thumb with mixed media, to let it dry. Honestly, even the way I did these, it would be good to do all, like if you're going to do a session and have a bunch of, it would be good to do all the Perfect Pearl coloring first, go back and do all the Mod Podging on its own, go back and do all the whatever else you're going to put on its own, instead of trying to heat gun it, through the whole process and hope it doesn't chunk up and peel off, because that can happen. I think these are going to be all right, but that might be a better way to go. Do them one step at a time. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. Everybody that saw my examples yesterday, Shelley took some really great pictures for me. They saw my examples and they loved them. And I think you're going to have a blast making them. And, I've just basically given you the first steps. You guys are going to take it to the next level. And you're going to find all kinds of more amazing things to do. Like this one, I thought it might be fun to wire wrap that. But before I wire wrap it, it might be fun to take some little bit of thread and wrap it tight around the wire in sections and add a little fiber to it. That would give it a lot of dimension, a lot of going on. And this could be part of a tassel, mixed media tassel, where you combine it with different fibers hanging down and skinny chains and other beads. And I hope to work on that because that's my look. I love that. Tassels are my thing. I'm a tassel girl. So I hope you guys could hear me good enough. I'm kind of running out of steam today, but I hope you enjoyed that. I wish I was a better teacher for you. Seems like I just do everything all backwardsy, but I'll blame it on the ADHD because I really truly do have it. And I don't like scripted videos, and I will not do them that way until I have no choice. So I just like to visit with you, and we go with the flow around here. If I forget a word, well, I will substitute another one. And that's the way you should be with your jewelry making. If you hit some kind of an obstacle and it's like an impediment to you, whether you have a physical one or you have an emotional one or a creative one or whatever, find a way to get around it. Don't let it define you. Never. I don't let ADHD define me at all. If you have it, don't let it define you. You can work around it. Look at all the stuff I do. It might be wonky, but I do it. Alrighty, enough with the sermonette. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. You got anything else to say, Javi? You got some words of wisdom for these people? I burnt their
Just
ears
have
off of that.
fun.
Just have fun. That's the best advice anyone can have. Where's the chicken? We didn't bring them down, did we?
No, I didn't.
Well, maybe on these videos we won't do the chicken. All right, guys, have a great Friday, and if you can, come on Sunday. We have it every Sunday on the same YouTube channel, 4:30 p.m. EST. That's Ohio time. The next one will be March 31st, 2019, but it's every Sunday at 4:30, unless we leave it on our community section that we have to change the time. And we'll have it on Facebook too, but normally we don't tend to do that. So I will see you on Sunday, and we'll talk about it more. Bye-bye.